Hey everybody, happy draft day, and I am pleased as punch to present my longtime friend Melanie Salata-Fitch and her guest of special renown, Ryan Hoag, Mr. Relevant 26. Did I get that
28.
right? 28. Mr. Relevant 28. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you. I feel welcomed and honored to be next to one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah, she's absolutely. Hi, hey, how you doing? It's great to see you. Fantastic. Melanie, tell everybody who may not be familiar with how this all got started, just for the record, how it started.
Okay. It started with an idea from my dad, Paul Salata, who played for the 49ers and was helping the 49ers with their on draft day. And he decided that it'd be a good idea to let's honor the last person selected in the draft. And it's irrelevant where he's been selected. Let's treat him as if he's equal to the first guy drafted. So he said, let's bring him out to Newport Beach and treat the last person drafted with a celebration and honor the underdog. So that started 50 years ago. It's our 50th year. And we brought him to Newport Beach, and now it's turned into a great celebration that raises money for charities. We've raised over $1 million over the years. And he just wanted to honor the underdog and show that even if you're drafted last out of the thousands of eligible players, you should be recognized too. And so it's taken off.
And folks, that photograph that I showed was myself, the late Bill Chackus, and I am interviewing Melanie's father. That was actually 2007 NFL draft at Radio City Music Hall right here. So if you want to see it, I'll play just a slight clip for basically how nice her dad was, you know. So, whoops, that's Bill. It was a little low. It's a little, we had a lot of background noise from Jets fans because that's how we rolled in those days. Or I should say they rolled. They were pretty noisy. But if you turn it all the way up, folks, you can hear exactly what he's saying and just adjust your equalizer a bit. But it's really an enjoyable conversation. And I might add, that was our second year as we started YouTube doing it 2006. Paul was kind enough to join us. We were doing live stream, everything else then. So, and he was right there in this. He sort of dived in like it was a warm, nice pool of water. A great man. Go ahead, Melanie. Keep talking about him.
Thank you. Yeah, he was very fun. You know, he always had ideas about celebrating in weird ways or celebrative ways. And so when Irrelevant Week started, we did all kinds. Took the player for a week long and did different things to celebrate him. And because my dad was quirky and he liked doing things like that. So like when Ryan was, when he entered his celebration, our major hospital out there is Hoag Hospital. So we brought Ryan in an ambulance, and we had nurses help him out on a gurney, and people were cheering, and it was fun. And we gave Ryan gifts, and my dad was always game to tweak things and make it that much more fun. You know, we had fun with you, Zinni, and Bill, and he always made stuff fun. I miss him because he was fun to be around. But we're continuing his heritage and his idea, and we're glad to do it.
And a major part of that heritage is Irrelevant Week, the Irrelevant Week celebration. And as I mentioned, I was kind enough to, Melanie was kind enough to invite me, and I came down to the dinner with Julie Bueller, by might add. Yes. And I'm going to tell you a little story before we focus on Mr. Hoag. At that dinner was populated by USC alums.
Well,
there were two people in the room who were loyal Cal Blues. Lee Steinberg and me. That was it.
Well, we allowed the two of you to come in to kind of balance the Trojan family group. I don't know.
Yeah, actually you did in a sense, because what happened was that Julie and I were sitting at the back. Lee was over there. And there was the hearty, because the MC was the late, great stupendous coach John Robinson, rest in peace, who was extolling the virtues of USC and everything else. And me being a loyal old Blue who was on the alumni board for 7 years, kind of got tired of that. And I said, "Go Bears!" And so John said, "Who the hell was that?" And I said, "Me." And he says, "Get the hell out of here."
Sorry.
It was a lot. It was all in fun. And Lee, I can see Lee was over there. He was cracking. I'm just happy that the blowback wasn't going to his direction.
Exactly. It went for the team, literally, Zinni.
That was so much fun. Ryan, I'm certain you have better stories to tell even than that. Tell us about your time as Mr. Irrelevant, which really technically is kind of like, being a client to a lawyer. You never lose your lawyer, right? So
yeah, they, Melanie and her family and Paul, starting with Paul, they're really a second family to me. And to piggyback off what Melanie had to say, I mean, Paul was really ahead of his time in terms of, we live in such a viral world of, clickbait and things like that. And people do unique things out of the ordinary to try to get attention. And certainly Paul did that, but the difference was it was from the heart, it was genuine, and it was, developed because he truly wanted to do something nice for somebody for no reason at all that normally wouldn't get the recognition. And how cool is that? I mean, back then, I think he was number 474, I think, draft pick, back then. And certainly
he was better than 475.
Touche. I mean, you have 11% chance of making the NFL if you're a 7th round draft pick now. And, back then when they had, 14 rounds, something like that. I mean, it was so, minuscule, as it still is obviously today, but for him to do that and then for it to carry on the tradition, really special. My week in particular, I look back on it, it was, Zinni, I kid you not, it was the best week of my life. And my mom, talks about it to this day. She's like, I still can't believe why and how they treated us. Like, I mean, it was truly royalty. I had multiple conversations with Melanie within the first week of being drafted of figuring out every single favorite thing I liked, from, fajitas to having those at every single meal for an entire week to, knowing that I was single and developing a Miss Irrelevant competition that ended up blossoming to a reality TV career. And I ended up on The Bachelorette
Right, that was you. I knew it.
Yeah.
Yes. Wait a second. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
To wanting to go on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and she made that happen. I mean, you can name it. There have been people that have gone to the Playboy Mansion, driven a Ferrari for the week. I mean, whatever you want. I mean, it's like I found my own genie lamp, and there was more than three. And it truly is amazing.
Hey, Ryan, so tell us. I mean, there's so many you could pick out here, but of all of those experiences, I mean, which one stands out the most? Is there an episode or something that happened where you would say, okay, I'll never forget it? Folks, by the way, folks, for those of you who will be watching this, yes, he is not kidding regarding The Bachelorette, and I will show you right now that Mr. Hoag is way not kidding. Here is Ryan Hoag. Boom, there he is. Ryan, I got a better chest than you do.
Wow. Yippee.
That was my second stint on reality TV on The Bachelor Pad. So I was on The Bachelorette and then The Bachelor Pad, which is now Bachelor in Paradise. But, when I think of the things that stand out to me, I mean, first and foremost, I think I've been to almost a dozen Mr. Irrelevant banquets and weeks. It's been 22 years now since I was drafted. And, I just keep coming back. And the reason is not only do they invite me back and welcome me back like a family member, but the Shield means so much to me as an NFL player in general, but to be one of 49 of anything in the world is really, really special. And so I take it as a badge of honor, and I root for Mr. Irrelevance, and so I want to be a part of those, and if I could go back 22 years ago and put myself in and although I embraced it, my family embraced and this and that, in the back of my mind, I was always like, am I gonna get in trouble from the Raiders for, missing this OTA practice or not being there for lift? I would have I would have just embraced and enjoyed every single moment of it. And that's what I try to go back and tell Jalen Key from last year, or just Juan Johnson the year before, of just, hey man, this is one of those things where you will never recreate this in your entire life. It will, in the grand scheme of things, nobody's going to care from your organization that the NFL supports this, your team supports this, whether or not they try to, shame. Be able to come back, speak at the banquet, give advice. That for me is the most memorable, and the reason I'm here with Melanie, have the opportunity to make the 7th round draft pick for the Raiders this year. How cool is that?
Very cool.
They have NFL legends that do it in the 1st and 2nd round, and then there's me that's going to do it in the 7th round, and so not a lot of people have said they've been able to do that. So that's pretty special.
Ryan, I got to ask you, as Oakland's first and still continuous blogger and vlogger, I have to ask you, and Raiders fan, and rest in peace to Morris Bradshaw late recently, what do you remember most about being an Oakland Raider at the Coliseum?
Yeah, I mean, 2 things jump out in my head. Jack London Square, where we obviously would go and have some fun at the TGI Fridays and all the places around there.
Yeah.
But obviously the black hole and just the sense of, it had a mystique, kind of like Lambeau Field, which we're here now, this era of championships. And, everybody talks about there was never a 3-time Super Bowl champion. There was a back-to-back NFL champion, and that was the Green Bay Packers back in the 30s. And you kind of feel it here. That's the kind of feel I had when I played in Oakland, and, everybody's dressing all the way out in an intimidating fashion. And the other players and other fan bases felt that. They were intimidated to go. Teams were intimidated to come into our house. The Raiders talked about, hey, we want to be the most hated team. We want to be the most penalized team. And whether or not I'm on board with that, there was certainly something to it. And it set the tone from the jump of that kickoff. So
I got to share with you all a story. When I was representing Oakland Mayor Hugh Harris in '97, I got a call from a very distraught woman who said, I wonder if you could help me because, we came into Oakland for the game, but my son was hit by a battery because he's wearing a Broncos jersey. And I said, ma'am, I'm delighted to help you. I'm sorry that your son was wearing a Broncos jersey. I will definitely get you to the right people. I didn't mean to. I wasn't laughing when I took her call at all, folks. It's just the memory of that. My gosh, to add on to what you're saying, for the other team and their fans, it wasn't the safest place. But I will say this in honor of the fact that my friend is still Mark Davis. How do you like Las Vegas Raiders?
Anytime you're the newest team in a new city, it's an adjustment. And there's certainly a lot of great things. And Vegas will continue to grow. I think they'll get an NBA team here in the next couple of years. Obviously, the Athletics are going to come and be a part of the community. And so it's fun to have a new community. It's interesting because it's definitely a different type of vibe. I mean, there's always going to be Raider Nation. And when I think of Raider Nation, I'm thinking like, South Central LA, I'm thinking of Oakland, I'm thinking things like that. So, they kind of have that edge. Vegas is more like, retirees and visitors. And so it's really interesting. It's hard to get a true home field advantage because number one, it's either first or second most expensive ticket in the NFL.
Yep.
Right. And two, the stadium's the best stadium in the NFL, full stop. I mean, it is unbelievable. The way they have the suite situation and all the things. And the problem with that is a lot of it is entertaining your clients, your friends, and you lose that black hole type of feel.
Energy, right.
So it's a catch-22, while it's the coolest stadium and certainly a really fun to be the new team and the new community with Tom Brady, pulling the strings and things like that. You definitely lose that outdoor, hey, we're going to play you even if it's a baseball field, like we don't care. We're going to strap it up and we're going to be tougher than you. So, one of those catch-22s for sure.
No, Wells, I could not have said it better. Hey, on the matter of Mr. Irrelevant, something comes to mind in terms of a question. Tell us how instrumental your friend to your right was in getting you basically off on the road to being a bachelorette and bachelor hero. How did all that happen in detail there?
That
Yeah.
picture looked pretty good. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you need much help,
I
but
got her revved
So
up.
you know, I think I'm one of the few of the 49 Mr. Relevance that have really ridden that title to its fullest, right? I do a radio show with Q Myers, if you're familiar with him, on Raider Nation Radio, and we do a segment called Nothing's Irrelevant, where we talk about pre and post game Raider games, talking about the things an average fan might not see that was the reason the Raiders won or lost, right? So I'm utilizing that title. I try to, promote the brand as much as possible by staying involved, staying in Melanie's hip and things like that. And it's hard to look at myself and not laugh while we're doing this.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's good, Dave.
But
Keep it up, Zinni.
but certainly I know that the difference between being drafted and not drafted, you're going to get more notoriety, and then once you have that Mr. Irrelevant moniker, people remember you. And I've really, as I've kind of blossomed in the last year in the sports broadcasting career, I've utilized that because while my play wasn't very memorable or relevant, my title is always going to remain relevant, and so. And I have Melanie to thank. I would absolutely not be in the spot. I wouldn't be announcing a draft pick. Even if I was a second-round draft pick into the 2003 draft, everybody knows that unless you're a first-round draft pick, if you can be Mr. Irrelevant, like absolutely full stop, that's what you want to do.
So you're announcing a draft pick this year?
Yes. Yep. Pick 222 for the Raiders, 7th-round pick.
Congratulations. That is
Thank you.
huge, my man. Yeah, we're going to keep our eyes glued for you. Hey, by the way, Ryan, also something else too. Tell us what the food was like at Irrelevant Week, because I know it was good. We had and on the beach, because the beach is a ton of fun. Yeah.
So, again, I've been to 12, and they tailor the week to whatever you like. So if it's filet, it might be an inexpensive week, but they'll give you filet mignon every single meal for an entire week. For me, it was fajitas. I was on a fajita kick. I was pretty healthy, and I wanted chicken and steak fajitas every single
nice.
every single meal. It was an option.
Every single meal. That's so nice.
Me and everybody that I was with, and I brought down people from my school and people from my family. Like everybody, they loved life, and so it's They spare no expense. They cast every stone possible to make sure that your every single genie rub of a lamp is fulfilled. And
hold that thought. One moment. Sorry, go ahead. We got.
Sorry, Zenny, we lost you for a second. You said one more thought, and we lost you.
Yeah, what happened was I had to put it on mute because we got 21st century. We've got a propane problem that we're dealing with downstairs and all that stuff. So my mom was trying to call me, and so I'm upstairs doing the interview. And so there it is. So at any rate, life stuff, right? So at any rate, but coming back to this fun conversation about your time as Mr. Irrelevant, give a message to that person that we can play once they become Mr. Relevant, right? Yeah. Because it's going to happen today. Well, not today, but a couple of days now. Yep. Give them an early message about, your choice, whatever you want to say to them.
Sure. First and foremost, congratulations. Welcome to the club. One of 50 of anything in the world is a real, real special thing. You're going to get inundated with interview requests and pulling from your team and pulling from your family and most importantly pulling from Melanie Fitch, and make sure that you listen and give her the time, because it will be the best week of your entire life. I know you're going to be thinking about everything but any type of celebration, because you're going to be living in the moment and so excited to get started with that team. But trust me, if I could go back 22 years ago and just clear the mechanism, focus on everything that she's talking about, it will pay dividends. I look forward to meeting you there, as do the other 48 Mr. Irrelevant. So live it up and enjoy your moment.
And also, I'm going to get a couple more in, if I can slip them in real quick. What are your thoughts about who the Raiders should pick in this draft?
Yeah. Well, how long do we have? So,
I'm your time. But
yeah, Zenny, I've been going back and forth. I do a lot of obviously talking about who the Raiders. I actually have a hit coming up here to talk exactly about that. You know, the Raiders are a team that, if you look top to bottom roster wise, they are probably one of the bottom 3 or 4 rosters as far as like needing talent. And I look at their wide receiver room, they have one starting caliber wide receiver, and I look at their linebacker room, they have one starting linebacker in their linebacker room. So with that being said, when you're drafting 6, like linebacker and receiver usually aren't a spot to go. And a lot of people have Ashton Genty, and obviously he's a really, really good back. I personally would not draft him just because it's such a deep running back draft. And I would personally trade back because we have the most needs probably of any NFL team. And if I'm moving back to like the 12 to 17 range, I'm drafting Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. He's given up 0 touchdowns in the last 2 years. Shut down Marvin Harrison when they had their big rivalry against Ohio State. And so I'm going Will Johnson, corner, and then I'm looking at Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa, late
Good
in
choice.
the 3rd or 4th round. I'd love to get him.
Yeah, I want Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden. Not at 6. I can go down, but even I wouldn't be against him at 6 because he's the fastest wide receiver, and the Raiders need to go back to having a speed game, in my view. So absolutely, I gotta have you on. We can talk more Raiders, but
unknown caller.
let me kill that. Sorry about that. And also, and this gets back to Relevant Week. When you went, what was the one person other than Paul and Melanie? What was the other person you met who stands out in your mind?
Say that one more time. Who is the other person that what?
Stands out in your mind?
Wow. So my week happened to be, kind of all the stars aligned. And the year I was drafted, Carson Palmer, USC alum, was the number 1 draft pick and the Heisman winner, right? So we had the number 1 pick, Heisman winner, me, the Lozman winner, and we had a relationship, obviously, with USC. So Carson came to my banquet, and we had 1,200 people, a Heisman Lozman banquet, and he and I traded barbs back and forth. Pete Carroll and I had lunch together because he was obviously the coach of USC at the time, and he certainly stands out. I remember him talking about the upcoming season with some of the donors that were part of the lunch, and just how fun and kind of just this iconic college coach was just such a nice human being.
He is.
So I would say that for me stood out, Carson and coach.
Yeah, for me it was Melanie, Alex, Paul, and also I brought Julie Bueller. And I met her at the draft, and she's now married with a beautiful kid, but we had a blast. We just had an absolute whale of fun. I have videos haven't put up, I think. I have to straighten that out. But at any rate, so in closing,
Zinni, you're talking about how you were a fringe person, and I recall that you were interviewed on Eyewitness News at the arrival. Of all the people that were there, you were featured. I'm like, wait a minute, he's irrelevant. No, he's my irrelevant podcaster. But you were on the news, and everybody else is getting ignored. So yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Whoa, I had no idea that. Wow. See,
at the Newport Dunes, I have a playback of you being interviewed.
Send that to me. I've never seen it. I swear to God.
I'll take it out for you. You were
Melanie,
the featured opinion.
Never tell that to a guy with a giant ego already.
Sorry.
Ryan, you know what I'm talking about. We are the same fit.
Hat size. I'll send you a larger hat now.
You got it.
There you go. Oh yeah, here's
Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant hat.
Oh, I want one. Thank you so
There you
much.
go.
Thank you.
I'll send you one. Tell me your address.
I will definitely off camera. So I promised I wouldn't keep it longer than 30 minutes because I don't want to get you all to hook me. But I think we got a lot of shareable points here. I'm going to divide up into different videos. This is awesome stuff. Ryan, I would want to invite you on as a guest on the Vlog Report with Zenny62 to talk more Raiders and NFL. And also, by the way, you said something about what the shield means to you. And before we close, I want to share something that I wrote this morning to NFL staff because this is my 20th year. I have to be here for my mom. So I'm sad that I can't be there, but I'm happy that I'm here for my mom. And so and my mom is 90.
Yeah.
And
They have your mom from Mel. She's hanging
yes.
in there, the trooper.
Oh, hey, she's given me a great life. So I couldn't even think of anything other than being here for my mom. And unfortunately, I was able to bless her with a wife and kids and all that. But Lord knows I tried. So anyway, without getting into trouble. But anyway, that's another story. But I wrote this. Hi everyone. This morning I wrote this. Hi everyone. I share this note with the NFL staff on this 2025 NFL Draft Day. A quick note to say that on this day of the 2025 NFL Draft, that I want to wish everyone a fantastic draft day and NFL Draft weekend, and remind all that for me, my association with the league has caused me to observe that the NFL is in the happiness business. When I headed the effort to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland in 2000 for the 2005 Super Bowl, what I realized is that the NFL nices you to death. I never took time to find out where that came from, but it hit me in a weird way. When we were giving our bid presentation at the fall 2000 meeting in Atlanta, Commissioner Tagliabue introduced Oakland with "Welcome Governor Brown." Yes, Jerry Brown was mayor of Oakland, but his highest position and the one he was most proud of at the time was governor of California, something Jerry literally was born to do. It made his day, and he went on to give a speech that got a lot of votes for our bid and made me angry that he wasn't engaged from the start of our work. We would have won the 2005 Super Bowl over Jacksonville and produced an unforgettable experience. But what I took from that has impacted how I think about business. Make people happy, a smile, a laugh, an ear, or calling them what they are. Legendary. Ryan, you're legendary. Melanie, you're legendary. An expression of care. For many, especially the young, and these young men about to be selected, the NFL is a happy place. When they take the table to meet the press, please make sure the assembled members ask questions and also welcome them. That's what I have done since 2010. After figuring out over the first 5 years, some players were literally given one question and felt less for the experience. Make them happy. This is their special day. God bless you all. Zenny, that's what I wrote. That's how I feel about the NFL.
Very nice.
And that's how I feel about Melanie.
There you go. She's part of that, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Ryan?
Like Ryan said, the motto of Irrelevant Week is doing something nice for someone for no reason. And we try and celebrate them and have them feel special during Irrelevant Week. So we're with you, Zinni.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ryan, you will not be a stranger because I'm going to be hounding you to come back on. Melanie, you too. Love you all. Thank you. Melanie, it's great to see you again. All right.
Thanks, Zinni. Good seeing you.
You're great to see you too. Yeah. And folks, that ends this stream. Join us at 4 o'clock Oakland time, 7 o'clock Eastern time for our live stream of the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay. Thank you.